I'll go to the next module. The next module is writing and producing an effective job application. Okay, I actually sort of mentioned some of these things before. And one of the slides says interview preparation, first impression, and etiquette. And for me, preparing for an interview, the first thing you want to do is you need to actually sort of understudy the organization, look at the organization, look at the culture of the organization. That's part of the first things you want to do. And once you come from the full session, I'm going to be taking you through most of the things that you should look out for, researching the organization, looking at what their core values are, what is their business plan, what are they actually looking at the moment, what is their strategy. Understanding these things will help you when you're actually answering questions during interviews. You're able to use that information that you've gathered to actually make your presentation. Most times we don't actually sort of research the organization that we just they just send us for people who have the opportunity to go for interviews. They just go for interview without actually checking the website of the company or checking other information about the company. So when we actually have the full session, I'm going to be taking us through, dissecting it one by one and telling us all the things that we need to do, from visiting the website to other key activities that need to be carried out while preparing for an interview. Also, there are different interviews. Interviews abroad. There are different kinds of interviews and different types too. Most times you have there are interviews that are just informative interviews, just trying to gather your information, not necessarily asking you to do anything. They just want to, what's your name, just basic information. There are some interviews that when you go there, it's actually activity oriented. They want to give you tests. They want you to do something that actually prove that you can actually do the job. So these interviews actually uh, differs. And some of you must have known the interview where you have panels. When you are doing um, when you are writing your project and your thesis and trying to go to defend it, you must have seen that kind of. That's also an interview where you have panel and people ask you questions. That's also a different kind of interview. So there are different kinds of interview, and you need to understand how to actually prepare for these kinds of interviews. Checking them out. There are also phone interviews that people just call you. I will actually give us all the types of interviews and how to actually prepare for each of these interviews when we actually come for the full session. Also, in this current global crisis, a lot of employers are actually sort of moving to virtual interviews. So, how do you prepare for your remote interviews using Zoom, using Skype, WhatsApp, depending on what the employer decides to use? How do you actually prepare yourself for that kind of interview? Because it's not the face-to-face interview, so there are so many things that can go wrong. So you need to actually uh, prepare for that kind of interview. Also, we have discussion around things around common interview questions. There are so many common interview questions. We're going to be combing them and how to answer those questions. We're also going to be giving you information about how you ask your interviewer questions, the kind of questions that you ask an interviewer, and the interviewer will be like, okay, I think I want to employ this person. The person actually knows what he or she is doing. And also after the interview, what do you do after the interview? Do you sit back? Do you just sit back? Or do you, sort of follow up, things like that? We also walk you through what you do after an interview. Is there any question? Okay. So let's move. The next module is interpersonal expectations and skills. We're actually talking about interpersonal skills, interpersonal communication, which is basically having conversations with people, maybe selling ideas, maybe telling, reporting or something, written or unwritten. That's basically the definition of interpersonal communication. But actually, in a work environment, interpersonal skills is very, very important, because you might be very good at work, but sometimes you might not be able to actually relate with your colleagues, very well, relate to people, understand how people function, understand how to actually manage people. Those are the kind of things we sharing within that session. Also, intercultural communication, actually how to adapt with uh, somebody that's not from your own culture in terms of being a Christian and being a Muslim, and their beliefs is different from yours, and you guys have to work together. How do you actually manage such relationship in a work environment? We're also briefly going to be talking about project management. Giving you every task that you undergo in your office is like, for me, it's a project. Every activity you do is a project. So you need to understand what it is, how to actually the steps to actually use in actually managing any activity that is being assigned to you as a staff of an organization. Also, understanding how to work as a team. I've also been using a template for that team where we sort of encouraging you to understand how team dynamics work and how you need to how you actually behave and manage team members. Also, we're talking about conflict in the workplace. So I'll be giving you an overview, walking you through, giving you scenarios of how to actually manage. I'll bring scenarios about conflict and how to manage those kind of conflict. And if you have any contribution, also that's welcome. We actually have that discussion. If you have questions around managing conflict, we also sort of have that conversation and that discussion. Is there any question? Okay, I'll be going quickly to the next module, which is creative problem solving skills. This is very important. Once you are gainfully employed, you need to understand how to solve problem creatively. When I say creatively, is actually being able to solve problems in a way that it actually helps the organization and not put the organization in more trouble. Having said that, we need to understand the method. How do you actually go about problem solving? The method for problem solving, critical thinking, because you can't actually solve problems without critical thinking. And also, I remember when I started working, and I would just go to my boss and say, this thing you sent me, there's nothing there. I can't get it. And my boss would just be looking at me like, okay, what are we going to do? And after like 2, 3 times of saying that, he started saying, don't come and be telling me this kind of thing. Find what you're supposed to do. Find a way around it. So employers don't want people who come and cannot solve problems. People employ you to solve problems. So what you need to do is go out. You're given an assignment to do. You get out there. You have issues. Look for the solution for that issues before coming to talk to your boss. I'm going to walking us through how to get those kind of problem solving approach. How to ask questions when you are in a situation where that activity might want to fail, and how to actually get the kind of information you need when reporting, and not just reporting blankly without actually making recommendation on problem solving recommendation for your employers. Also, we'll also be looking at how to analyze those solutions and how to plan next steps. We say, okay, these are the issues, these are what we're supposed to do. And also, we subsequently actually also talk about it in terms of using that lesson that we learned within that activity that almost crashed. So apply it to next activity that you have and mitigate it even from the beginning without even getting to that place where you might be having issues. Any question, please? Okay. Then this is the last module, research and communication skills. Research and communication skills. We're actually going to be looking at research skills, how you actually do research at work, how you actually report on research. For example, you're given any activity that is related to getting information, doing research. How do you actually administer research information? How do you collate information? How do you actually report this information? How do you translate this information that somebody that reads the information will understand the information? We're going to be walking you through that. We're also going to be teaching you about communication, professional communication. Within that, we're going to be teaching you how to write emails, how to write official emails, memos, reports, the kind of reports that are out there and what they are used for. So we're going to be walking you through that too. In terms of communication, we're also going to be, walking you through how you communicate in the office, understanding hierarchies, understanding uh, hierarchies in the office, and also how to report. Your reporting line, who is your manager, who is this, who is that, and how you actually report information and also escalate information where the case may be. Also, we're also going to walk through effective presentation skills. We're going to be teaching you how to do presentations. A lot of us are struggling with presentations. So we're going to be walking you through how to deliver presentations, effective presentations, also how to develop simple, concise, but very informative presentations. I'm going to be walking you through that too within this next session that we'll be having, which I've said before is just 5,000 naira, and we'll be creating a group. We'll be sharing this video with all the participants. We'll also be creating a group where we can actually ask questions. We'll also, in case you have issues with payments, you also support you in terms of processing your payments. We'll also use that platform to communicate the dates for the next session. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.